Single dad found a dying female cop. What happened next shocked the entire police force. Before we start today's story, comment below where you're watching from and hit subscribe if you haven't already. You won't want to miss what's next. It was a dark, rainy night outside the city. The road was long and empty. Most people didn't drive there after sunset. But one man did. His name was Ethan Cole. He was driving his old pickup truck, the sound of rain hitting the windshield keeping him company. The wipers moved back and forth, squeaking softly. Then Ethan saw something strange far ahead, red and blue lights flashing through the rain. At first, he thought it was just another police car watching for speeding cars. But then he noticed that the lights weren't steady. They were flickering, fading in and out. Something was wrong. He slowed down, pulled to the side of the road, and turned off his engine. When he stepped out, the cold rain hit his face like little needles. He looked ahead and froze. A police car had crashed. It was upside down in the mud beside the road, steam and smoke rising from it. The metal was twisted and broken, and the smell of gas filled the air. Next to the car lay a young woman in a police uniform. Her face was pale. There was blood on her vest and the wet ground around her. Ethan ran forward, slipping a little on the wet road. When he reached her, he knelt down and gently touched her shoulder. Her lips moved. "Go back," she whispered weakly. "They're not coming." Ethan looked around. No one else was there. No sirens, no lights. Just the sound of rain and thunder in the distance. He quickly took off his Ethernet and pressed it against her wound. Then, pulling out a small knife he kept in his pocket, he cut her seatbelt where it had trapped her. Blood was still flowing fast. She tried to move, but he said softly, "Stay still. Don't talk. You're going to be okay." Her eyes rolled, almost closing. Ethan leaned close and said in a steady voice, "Stay with me. I've seen worse. You're not dying tonight." 1 hour later, the woman was safe in a hospital bed. Doctors and nurses were amazed. Her wound had been cleaned and stitched perfectly, as if by a trained surgeon. When the police captain came to see her, his hands trembled. "Who did this?" he asked in surprise. "This stitching, it's military precision." That man was Ethan Cole. He was 40 years old and lived on the edge of town, in a small, quiet house with his daughter Lily. Every morning, Ethan woke up before the sun, at 5:30 sharp. He made breakfast, packed Lily's lunch, and drove her to school. Their neighborhood was peaceful. The people who lived there were kind, but didn't ask too many questions. They waved when they saw Ethan outside, but never asked what he did before he started driving trucks for a living. Lily was 10 years old, full of energy and questions. She loved drawing and often made pictures for her dad, which he kept in his Ethernet pocket. Sometimes, she'd look at the scars on his hands and ask, "Daddy, where did those come from?" Ethan always smiled and said, "From helping people a long time ago." He never told her the full story, because the truth was complicated. Years ago, Ethan had been a combat medic in the Special Forces. He was the kind of soldier they sent when everything went wrong, in dangerous places that didn't appear on any map. He had saved lives under fire, stitched wounds in the dark, and kept people breathing when all hope seemed lost. But that was before the explosion that changed everything. Before his wife, Riley, a police officer, was killed during what was supposed to be a simple traffic stop. That night, Ethan discovered that the same drug cartel operating overseas was also here, in his own county. After that, he left the army, left his old life behind, and tried to start over. Now, he worked as a delivery driver, taking food and supplies to small stores in the countryside. He lived quietly, raised Lily alone, and tried not to think about the past. On his wrist, he wore a black rubber bracelet. It was old and worn, with faded letters that read, "Never leave a fallen." That night, at 11 o'clock, Ethan was finishing his last delivery. The rain was heavy, the world outside the truck just a blur of dark trees and flashing lightning. Most people avoided that forest road at night. But Ethan liked it. He liked the quiet. Then, through the curtain of rain, he saw those red and blue lights again. At first faint, then brighter. Something was wrong. He slowed down, then stopped completely. Up ahead, a patrol car lay upside down, its roof crushed, smoke coming from the hood. Ethan hesitated. He could call for help and drive away. But he knew there would be no signal out here. And even if there was, it might be too late. So he stopped. He always stopped. Ethan grabbed his flashlight and ran into the rain. When he reached the wreck, the sight made his stomach twist. The car had flipped twice, maybe more. Shattered glass glittered in the mud. Inside, the young officer was barely conscious. Her name tag read Officer Riley Carter. She was 29, still new to the job. Her face was bloody, her vest torn. A deep wound across her stomach showed she was in real danger. "Back up," she whispered. "Called them 20 minutes ago." Ethan checked her pulse. It was weak. Her breathing was shallow. She was fading fast. He took out his phone. No signal. The forest blocked everything. Riley grabbed his arm suddenly. Her grip was surprisingly strong for someone so weak. "If you run," she gasped, "they'll find you too. They're watching." Ethan looked around the dark forest but saw no one. Then he looked at her face, pale, scared but brave. He saw for a second his wife's face instead. Same uniform. Same danger. Same fear. He took a deep breath and said softly, "Then I guess we both fight." He ran back to his truck. In the back, under a tarp, was an old military medical kit. He'd kept it hidden for years, not knowing why. Maybe this was the reason. Ethan hurried back through the rain. "Stay with me, Riley," he said as he knelt beside her. "I'm Ethan. I'm going to help you. But you need to stay awake. Talk to me. Tell me, why did you become a cop?" She tried to smile through the pain. "I wanted to make a difference," she whispered. "Good reason," Ethan said softly. The smell of gas was stronger now. He knew the car could explode at any second. He worked fast. His knife sliced through the seatbelt. He lifted her carefully. The wound was bad, maybe internal bleeding. "This is going to hurt," he warned. "Everything already hurts," she said weakly. "Fair point." Ethan opened his old kit. Inside were trauma tools, gauze, bandages, clamps, all from his military days. He worked like he had done it yesterday. His hands were steady, sure. He pressed the gauze deep into the wound. Riley screamed, but didn't push him away. He packed it tighter and wrapped the bandage. Not pretty, but it slowed the bleeding. "Who did this?" Ethan asked. "The cartel," Riley whispered. "I was following a lead. 2 cars, 6 men. They ran me off the road. They think I'm dead." "Let's keep it that way," Ethan said quietly. The car hissed, fuel spilling onto the ground. "Can you move?" he asked. "I don't know." "You'll have to try. On 3, 1, 2, 3. He lifted her. She was light. He carried her away, step by step, as the smell of gas filled the air. Then boom. The car exploded behind them. Fire lit up the forest, bright as day. Ethan threw himself over Riley, shielding her from the heat and flying metal. For a moment, the whole forest glowed orange. Then the rain came harder, hissing as it hit the flames. "You're crazy," Riley whispered. "I get that a lot," Ethan said with a small smile. He checked her wound again, still okay. But they needed help fast. He looked at his phone, still no signal. "I can't walk," she said. "I know. I'll carry you." He lifted her over his shoulders and started walking. The road was half a mile away, uphill, slippery with mud. He kept going. Step after step. The rain poured down, but Ethan didn't stop. "Tell me about your daughter," Riley whispered. "What?" "Your Ethernet. There's a drawing. Says Lily." Ethan almost smiled. "She's 10. Smart. Too smart. Always asks why I won't teach her how to stitch." "Why won't you?" "Because I don't want her to ever need that skill." Riley was silent for a moment. Then she asked quietly, "Your wife, was she a cop?" Ethan hesitated. "How did you know?" "The way you looked at me," she said. "Like you've seen this before." "She was," Ethan said. "Died 5 years ago. Same kind of ambush." "I'm sorry," Riley whispered. "Don't be. Just stay alive. That's all I ask." Finally, they reached the road. Ethan laid her gently on the ground and waved at a passing truck. The driver stopped at once and called 911. 15 minutes later, sirens and flashing lights filled the night again. Paramedics rushed to help. They cut open Riley's vest and looked at the wound. One gasped. "Who did this?" Another said, "It's military work. Whoever did this saved her life." Police officers surrounded Ethan. "What's your name?" one asked. "Ethan Cole." "Did you see who did it?" "No. I just found her." "You a doctor?" "No. Used to be a medic. A long time ago." Captain David Hunt arrived, tall, serious, eyes sharp. He looked at Riley being lifted into the ambulance, then at Ethan, then at the burning car far away. "You carried her half a mile?" "Through the forest." "She was dying," Ethan said. Didn't have time to think about rules. The captain studied him, saw his calm face, the old scars, the way he stood like a soldier. You military? Was. Not anymore. What branch? Special Forces. Combat medic. The captain nodded slowly. We'll need a statement tomorrow. I'll come by, Ethan said. But right now I need to get home to my daughter. As Ethan turned to leave, the captain called, Mr. Cole, thank you. You saved one of ours tonight. Ethan paused. He didn't look back. Just did what anyone should do, he said quietly. He climbed into his truck, started the engine, and looked at his wrist. The black bracelet was gone. The one that said never leave a fallen. It must have fallen off while he was saving her life. Ethan drove away through the rain. The flashing lights grew smaller behind him. But somewhere deep inside he knew he hadn't really left that old life behind after all. He looked back at the ambulance. Riley was being put inside. She was awake and looking at him. Their eyes met from far away. She lifted one hand weakly. Around her wrist was his black bracelet. It said, never leave a fallen. Ethan nodded once, then got into his truck and drove away into the dark night. 3 days later, Officer Riley Carter woke up in County General Hospital. The room had white walls and machines that beeped. Medicine was flowing into her arm, making her sleepy and warm. Captain Hunt sat in a chair beside her bed. His face looked serious. How are you feeling? He asked. Riley tried to sit up but winced in pain. Like I got hit by a truck, she said softly. What happened to the case? Captain Hunt shook his head. Forget the case. Tell me about the man who saved you. Riley closed her eyes, remembering. He was tall, maybe 6 feet 2. Dark hair with some gray. It looked like he was in his 40s. He was calm, really calm, like he had done it 1,000 times. What did he say to you? Captain Hunt asked. He said I wasn't dying tonight. He said he'd seen worse. She paused. Captain, whoever he was, he knew exactly what he was doing. He stopped my bleeding, fixed my wounds in the field, and carried me half a mile through the rain. Captain Hunt pulled out his tablet and showed her a photo. Is this him? Riley stared at the picture. It was a driver's license photo. Ethan Cole. Yes, she said quietly. That's him. Who is he? She asked. That's what we're trying to find out, Captain Hunt replied. The investigation moved fast. Detective Lena Ortiz looked up the truck Ethan had been driving. She found his address. It was a small, quiet house in a normal neighborhood. Nothing seemed strange. But when she checked his background, she called Captain Hunt right away. Captain, you need to see this. Soon they were in the conference room. Ethan Cole's military record was on the screen. Most of it was blacked out, classified and secret. But they could still see some things. Ethan Cole had been in Special Forces. He was a combat medic. He had gone on 7 secret missions. He had a Silver Star medal. He was an expert in saving lives under fire. He left the army 5 years ago, after his wife was killed. Captain Hunt read the name of Ethan's wife, Riley Cole. She had been a police officer too. She was killed during a drug stop that went wrong. The people who did it were never caught. The report said they were part of a cartel, the same cartel the police were fighting now. Captain Hunt whispered, he's been hunting them, or hiding from them. Detective Ortiz shook her head. He left the army, started a quiet life. If he wanted revenge, he would have taken it by now. Maybe he's waiting for the right time, another detective said. The next morning at 8 a.m., 2 detectives drove to Ethan's house. Inside, Ethan was making pancakes. His daughter Lily sat at the table doing homework. It looked like a normal, happy morning. Then the doorbell rang. Ethan had already seen the unmarked car outside, so he knew who it was. He opened the door. Mr. Cole? One detective asked. That's me. I'm Detective Ortiz. This is Detective Noah. We'd like to ask you some questions about the night 3 days ago. I already gave a statement, Ethan said calmly. We have some follow-up questions. May we come in? Ethan looked back. Lily was watching from the table. He walked to her, knelt down, and said, Honey, I need to talk to these people. Can you go to your room and finish your homework? Am I in trouble? She asked. No, he said gently. I am a little, but it's okay. He kissed her forehead. Everything's fine. I promise. Lily went to her room. Ethan let the detectives inside. They sat in the living room. It was small but cozy. Detective Ortiz saw something hanging on the wall, a shadow box with medals inside. There was a purple heart, a bronze star, and a silver star in the middle. "That's quite a collection," she said. Ethan didn't answer. Detective Noah looked at his notebook. "Mr. Cole, you were in the Special Forces, a combat medic. Why didn't you mention that when we asked how you saved Officer Carter?" If you're enjoying this story, make sure to subscribe and share your favorite part in the comments below. And don't forget to drop a heart to show your support. "You asked if I was a doctor," Ethan said. "I said no." "You asked if I was a medic." "I said I used to be." I answered honestly. "You were being evasive," Noah said. "I was being private," Ethan replied. "There's a difference." At that moment, Captain Hunt walked in. The detectives were surprised. He must have been waiting outside. "Mr. Cole," he said, "we need to talk." "About what?" "About why a decorated soldier is driving a delivery truck in a small town," Captain Hunt said. "Is that illegal?" Ethan asked. "No. But it's interesting," the captain said. "Especially when that same soldier saves a police officer fighting the same cartel that killed his wife 5 years ago." Ethan didn't move, but his hands tightened. "I don't know what you're saying." "I'm saying facts," Captain Hunt replied. "Your wife, Riley Cole, was killed by cartel members. The case went cold. You left the army right after. You moved here, stayed quiet. And now you save an officer from the same cartel. That's no coincidence." "What do you want from me?" Ethan asked quietly. Captain Hunt sat down. "Officer Carter is alive because of you. But she's still in danger. The cartel knows she survived. They'll come for her again. Then protect her. That's your job," Ethan said. "We're trying," Hunt said, "but they're too strong. They have big guns and training. We need help, someone who thinks like them." Ethan shook his head. "No. We need a tactical consultant," Hunt said. "Someone who understands combat medicine, ambushes, and survival." "I said no," Ethan repeated. "I have a daughter. She needs a father, not a dead hero." Detective Ortiz spoke softly. "Mr. Cole, if we don't stop them, more officers will die. More families will be broken. More daughters will lose their fathers." Ethan looked at her, then at his medals. He thought of Officer Riley Carter bleeding in the rain. He thought of his wife, Riley Cole. He thought of Lily, his little girl. What would she want him to do? He knew the answer. She'd want him to help others, so no other kid would lose a parent like she did. Ethan sighed. "I'll help. But only as a consultant. I don't go into the field. I don't carry a weapon. I'll teach and plan. That's it." "Deal," said Captain Hunt, shaking his hand. As they left, Hunt handed Ethan a small box. Inside was the black bracelet, cleaned and shiny, and a note, "Never leave a fallen. Thank you for not leaving me. Riley M." Ethan looked at it for a long time, then put it back on his wrist. 2 weeks later, Ethan stood in the police training room. 15 officers sat watching him. Officer Riley Carter was in front, still healing but strong. Captain Hunt introduced him. "This is Ethan Cole, former Special Forces medic. He's here to teach you how to survive." And for the first time in years, Ethan felt like he was right where he belonged. Ethan steps forward in the first 60 seconds of a crisis. Those moments matter the most. They can decide if someone lives or dies. Ethan's job, his promise to himself, is to make sure people live. For 3 long hours, Ethan teaches others how to save lives. He shows them how to use tourniquets to stop heavy bleeding, how to pack wounds with bandages, and how to press on pressure points to slow down blood loss. He moves around the room, checking everyone's work, fixing their hands when they're wrong, giving calm advice. When the class ends, a woman named Riley walks up to him. "Thank you for everything," she says softly. Ethan nods. "How's your recovery going?" "Slow but steady," Riley answers. She hesitates, then adds, "The captain told me about your wife." Ethan's eyes flicker. "Did he?" "I'm sorry," Riley says quickly. "I didn't know." "You couldn't have known," Ethan replies. Riley looks down, then up at him again. "Is that why you saved me?" Ethan thinks for a moment before answering. "I saved you because it was the right thing to do," he says. "But yes, when I saw you, I saw her too. Same uniform. Same courage." Riley's eyes fill with tears. "We're closing in on the cartel," she says quietly. "We're raiding their warehouse in 3 days. The captain wants you to come as a tactical consultant." Ethan shakes his head. I don't go into the field anymore. Just observe, Riley pleads. Your judgment could save lives. Ethan thinks of the young officers, brave but still learning. Fine, he says at last. But I stay in the command vehicle. Deal. Riley scarter faintly. Deal. 3 days later at dawn, the city is quiet. 20 officers surround a large warehouse at the edge of town. Ethan sits with Captain Hunt inside a mobile command center. The air hums with radio chatter. Team 1 in position. Team 2 ready. Team 3 holding. Captain Hunt turns to Ethan. You've been watching the feed. Any advice? Ethan studies the screen carefully. The back exit looks wrong, he says. It's probably rigged to explode. Keep Team 3 away from there. That's where they'll try to run. Hunt raises an eyebrow. How do you know? Ethan gives a small, tired smile. Because it's what I do. The raid begins. Flashbangs explode, shouts echo through the air. Chaos fills the warehouse. Inside, 6 cartel members are trapped and outnumbered. Their leader, Diego, runs toward the back door, just like Ethan predicted. Freeze. Police, shouts Team 3. Diego pulls out a detonator and Scarta. Come closer, he sneers, and we all die. Riley's voice bursts through the radio. Captain, he has explosives. Ethan grabs the microphone. Riley, do you see a wire from the detonator? Yes, she says quickly. A red wire. Where does it connect? Ethan asks. To a pressure switch on the doorframe, she replies. Ethan's instincts take over. Don't let him touch that door, he commands. If he does, the whole building will blow. Take the shot. Silence fills the radio. Then Riley's steady voice, copy. 1 shot clean. A loud bang echoes. Diego drops the detonator. It falls harmlessly to the floor. Target down, Riley reports. Building security. The officers slowly exit the warehouse. Every one of them is alive. Every suspect arrested. No injuries. Captain Hunt exhales in relief. That was too close. Ethan nods. It always is. Later that night, everyone gathers for a debriefing. The officers are tired but alive. Captain Hunt stands in front of them. We took down a major cartel today, he says proudly. And no officers were killed or injured. That's because of preparation, training, and one man who refused to let us go in blind. He looks at Ethan. Ethan Cole reminded us why we wear this badge. To protect, to serve, and to never leave a fallen. Applause fills the room. Officers who once doubted Ethan now stand and salute him. Riley steps forward, holding a silver star medal. This belongs here, she says, pinning it on the wall of honor. So everyone remembers what real courage looks like. Ethan shakes his head. I didn't do this for recognition. Riley scarred her gently. I know. That's exactly why you deserve it. Ethan looks at the wall, faces of fallen officers beside the shining medal. His old life and new purpose finally meet. Captain Hunt walks up and shakes his hand. You saved my officer. Then you saved my team. We owe you everything. Ethan glances around at the young, thankful faces. You don't owe me anything, he says quietly. Just promise me one thing. What's that? Hunt asks. Go home safe to your families. Every single night. Hunt nods. That's a promise. When Ethan leaves the station, officers line up on both sides of the hallway. Each one nods as he walks past. Riley walks him outside. You changed everything here, she says. Ethan looks back at the glowing lights inside the station. No, he says. I just reminded them what they already knew. He gets into his truck and drives home, to Lily, to peace, to purpose. The hero who never wanted to be one. 1 year later, Ethan stands in front of a small classroom. 20 people sit before him. Nurses, teachers, truck drivers. Regular people who want to learn how to help others in emergencies. Above the door, a sign reads, Cole First Response Training. Because everyone should know how to save a life. Lily sits in the back row. She's 13 now, watching her father with pride. Ethan demonstrates CPR on a dummy. Most people freeze in emergencies, he says. That's normal. But if you know what to do, your body will remember even when you're scared. A student raises her hand. What if we make a mistake? Ethan Scotta. Then you make a mistake. But doing something is always better than doing nothing. I've made plenty of mistakes. People still lived. After class, Officer Riley Carter walks in. She's not in uniform anymore. She's a detective now. "Hey, stranger," she says. Ethan grins. "Detective Carter. Congratulations." "Thanks," she says. "Couldn't have done it without you." They walk outside into the warm evening light. Riley hands him a folder. "We closed your wife's case," she says. "DNA came through. 3 men arrested. All tied to the cartel." Ethan opens the folder, sees the mugshots. He feels no anger, only calm. "Thank you," he says. "It doesn't bring her back," Riley says quietly. "No," Ethan replies. "But it means she didn't die for nothing." They stand in silence for a moment. Then Riley asks, "You ever think about coming back? Full-time consulting?" Ethan shakes his head. "This is where I belong, teaching people how to help. Giving them skills they'll hopefully never need. It's quieter. Simpler. Less dangerous too," Riley says with a grin. "That too," Ethan chuckles. Lily comes outside waving. "Hi, Riley." "Hey, kiddo," Riley scotta. "Your dad teaching you all his secrets?" "Some," Lily says proudly. "He won't teach me the really cool stuff yet." Ethan laughs. "That's because the really cool stuff is also the really scary stuff." They watch Lily climb into the truck. "You know," Riley says softly, "you never stop being a soldier. You just change your mission." Ethan nods. "Maybe. Or maybe I finally figured out what I was fighting for all along." "What's that?" she asks. "Not glory. Not revenge," Ethan says. "Just making sure good people get to go home to their families." Riley scarred her and hugs him briefly. "The world needs more people like you." Ethan shakes his head. "The world needs more people like everyone. We all have something to give." Riley walks away. Ethan goes to his truck. Lily is inside, singing off-key with the radio. On the mirror hangs his black bracelet. The words read, "Never leave a fallen." He doesn't wear it anymore. He doesn't need to. Because he's not leaving anyone behind. Not anymore. Not ever. He drives home as the sun sets, his daughter beside him, his purpose clear. A soldier. A father. A teacher. A man who stopped to help, and changed everything. If this story moved you, please subscribe for more kind and powerful stories. Watch our next video for another unforgettable journey. And share this story with someone who needs it today.